So the timeline, Scott, is January. BMY agrees to buy Celgene, a record deal. Then just in the last few days, we've had Starboard come out and disclose a 0.6% position, nominate 5 directors to the board. Then yesterday, Wellington out in opposition, and this morning Starboard. But they're not opposing for the same reasons, are they?
Well, similar reasons in that they do think that this is a bad deal for Bristol and aren't going to support it. So, I mean, well, you know, generally there might be some fine points that are different. Generally, what they agree on is that this is a bad deal for them.
But what I mean is Wellington is not supporting the Starboard slate, for example.
No, of course not. Sorry, they're completely independent in that. But it is a bit of a snowball effect when you have 2 holders, and especially somebody that is as well known for being combative as Starboard coming out. It is unusual too, because I think this might be the only time Wellington's been on the record publicly opposed to a transaction.
Exactly.
Scott, the Bloomberg merger arbitrage screen is always useful when it comes to kind of working out exactly what's going on with these things. The offer price is 160 currently. Obviously, it's stock and shares, so that's a moving feast. But we've got Celgene trading at 83.56. Does the market, is the merger arbitrage community signaling this deal is dead? Because I read analyst commentary which seems to still suggest that the lack of an alternative probably means that the deal goes through.
Well, the deal is far from dead. I mean, obviously, we still have about 6 weeks until the vote. So both sides are going to be pounding the pavement, trying to drum up support for it. Celgene is down today, obviously, because there has been some vocal opposition. But, you know, both stocks were impacted originally from the transaction. I think Bristol fell 14% on the first day it was announced, and then slowly started to pare all those losses as people became more comfortable with the deal. But you're right, the lack of clear alternatives is the reason why a lot of the analyst community thinks this deal will go forward.
Now, with both of these shareholders being vocal and opposed, and Vanguard, by the way, is the #1 shareholder, Wellington the #2 shareholder of BMY, does it matter what the likes of ISS comes out and decides? Are these two enough to sway enough of the vote?
They're certainly not enough to sway the vote, but what we don't know is how many other people are opposed or in favor of the deal. Now, we've talked to a lot of shareholders in the stock, and you know there is a pretty strong opposition to the deal. But the caveat to that is what we just mentioned, is that there isn't a clear alternative for Bristol outside of this transaction. So people might just plug their nose and take this deal because there's not any clear acquirer for Bristol, and as a standalone entity, it's uncertain whether it'd be stronger.
In terms of what this signals about what else is happening in the pharma transactions, a few weeks ago we had an analyst coming out and saying, look, we shouldn't expect major M&A this year. We then got this deal dropping. If it doesn't go through, what signal does it send about the rest of the sector?
Well, I don't know what. Clearly, this is a sector that's consolidating. I mean, we saw Cigna Express Script. That was another deal that saw some activist intervention, obviously, with Icon coming into the middle of that one. But there is a clear need for these companies to fill their pipeline, and that's what Bristol is trying to do with this. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, I'm not going to be able to predict the future on this, but you know, there seems to be some movement in that direction, and certainly Starboard said today that they believe that there would be an acquirer for Bristol if they were to run a process.
Now, a few weeks before an actual vote, talk to us about the process now. So does Wellington go out and you use the words pound the pavement?
Yeah.
It doesn't strike me that Wellington is that type of shop.
No, but definitely Starboard is. I think we can expect the typical cadence that we would see in a proxy fight. So there's 2 things at play here right now for Starboard. They're going to try to solicit proxies against the deal, which means that they're going to go out and talk to shareholders, try to convince them that this isn't the best deal for Bristol. And then secondly, they've put up a slate of nominees to run at the annual general meeting to replace board members. So that will happen probably around May. So this will be a very lengthy campaign, let's say that. But the first step is obviously focusing on the deal.